What is up, everybody? Purple and Gold podcast for Wednesday, March 11th. LSU baseball back in the win column last night. An 8-4 victory over Creighton. And LSU basketball season comes to an end this afternoon. Tigers fought gamely against Kentucky, but fell 87-82. Let's take it in reverse order. We'll talk about the baseball last night. Game started out much the same way as the past few, but in the first inning, LSU had a couple of guys on. Stephen Milam had a pop foul that the catcher should have caught for the third out. Then Milam got a benefit of what looked like it should have been a called strike three. It wasn't. He wound up knocking in a run, and I had a buddy text and say maybe LSU's luck is changing. And then for the next 4+ innings, it was much of the same. Reagan Ricken couldn't get a shutdown inning in the second inning after LSU was up 1-0. LSU left 2 on in the first. Omar Cerna struck out with the bases loaded in the second. They had left 5 people on. LSU had another error by the catcher throwing into the baseline. That call was overturned, and LSU caught a big break there. And the long and the short of this was LSU was down 4-2. Devin Sheeran came in and stabilized the game. And then Omar Cerna hit a huge grand slam to give LSU a 6-4 lead, a 454-foot home run. That was the second longest home run in LSU history. Devin Sheeran and Santiago Garcia. Santiago Garcia had his best outing as an LSU Tiger. They took the thing home. Jake Brown hit a 2-run homer late, and LSU won 8-4. Are LSU's problems cured? Not really in the least. This was a game that they were able to gut out, and they were able to get the bullpen shutdown performances that they were needed, and they were able to get 1 or 2 big swings. They still seem to have a problem manufacturing runs. They still seem to have a problem playing clean baseball. I thought LSU was the benefit of a couple of calls last night that went their way. And so LSU will head to Nashville really with the same questions that they've been having. Chris Stanfield did make his return to the lineup. He had 1 at bat. Didn't look great swinging the bat, but he did make 3 putouts in left field, including the one to end the game. Jay Johnson met with the media today. He was non-committal as to whether or not Chris Stanfield would start, but he did say that is on the table, and he did say that Chris Stanfield will play this weekend. My hunch is that Chris Stanfield will be used as a defensive replacement in the middle and latter part of these games this weekend. But it's good to have Chris Stanfield back. It gives the team a lift. And so LSU gets the win, and the Tigers are off to Nashville for a 3-game weekend series. So LSU basketball fought hard today. Robert Miller was out, violation of team rules. Tigers just keep taking bullets left and right and not having players available. They fought real hard. They trailed Kentucky by 3 at halftime. Kentucky made a push to get it up to 7 or 9, and LSU made a push back. Tigers just couldn't never really get over the hump in the second half. Kentucky outlasted them, and LSU's season comes to an end. Another 3-15 campaign in the regular season in the SEC, and a one-and-done exit in the SEC tournament. So now we turn our attention to what is next for LSU basketball. Mike Scarborough of TigerBait.com put out a Twitter post with a link to an article yesterday. The article was behind a paywall, but he basically insinuated that the Will Wade stuff, if you want to call it that, is not an impossibility. I think we already knew that it's not an impossibility. North Carolina State did win today in the ACC tournament. I think they're going to be solidly in the NCAA tournament. So this is going to come down to a decision from Jeff Landry, the governor, Lee Mallett, who's LSU's chairman of the Board of Supervisors. I don't think this will be Verge Osbury's decision. And what I think this will come down to is, can Jeff Landry and Lee Mallett find donors who would be willing to foot the buyout of Matt McMahon and his staff in the event that they can bring Will Wade to Baton Rouge. I don't think Jeff Landry and Lee Mallett will be involved in this if Will Wade is not the option. So if Will Wade at some point in the next period of time, whatever that period of time is, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, says, hey, I'm not coming, then you may very well just get the Verge Osbury blanket statement 3 weeks from now that says, LSU's going to give Matt McMahon a 5th year, and, we're going to throw our support behind him and go from there. If the word comes down and maybe NC State gets bounced in the first round of the tournament next Thursday or Friday, and Will Wade makes it known through his people that he's ready to come, I think you'll see it move relatively swiftly if, in fact, they've, secured the necessary donors to buy out Matt McMahon and his staff. So that will be a wait and see. I do not expect that you will hear anything about LSU's basketball coaching position in the next week. I'd be surprised if they fired Matt McMahon without having a backup plan, and I'd be surprised if they spend all that money on a buyout only for the backup plan to be another random mid-major coach. So that is where we're at on LSU basketball, and we will be back tomorrow to preview LSU and Vanderbilt. I will be on WRBE-FM tomorrow morning, Mikey in the morning. You can listen at WRBEFM.com. We talk about all things SEC baseball. We talk about LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. We throw some Southern Miss talk in. The game, Southern Miss Golden Eagles walked off Ole Miss last night. Great college baseball game, 2-1. And if anybody wants to listen to that, WRBE-FM. Please like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Please follow me on Twitter at RobG1124. We may do another Q&A session after the weekend, so be on the lookout for that. And as always, if you have questions and you want to send them to me on social, we'll answer them here on the podcast. So tough day for LSU basketball. Tigers fought hard, but they do lose at 87-82. We're finally here. It's finally SEC baseball. LSU and Vanderbilt will get this thing started on Friday. We'll be here to talk about it tomorrow, right here on the Purple and Gold podcast. As always, be good to one another, and always, 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 go Tigers.